my book a lot about day one, week one. Day one, week one is starting from scratch, starting over.
I love that, man.
And that's the mentality that I live by. Don't be afraid to go back to day one, week one. And I always, no matter how much I've accomplished in life, my life is always lived at day one, week one, because that's where the fuck you grind.
If you know anything about David Goggins, he had to do Hell Week 3 times. Hell Week is...
In Hell Week, I was in 3 of them. I finished 2 of them in 1 year. Only person to ever do that in still history. There's been people who have gone through a couple of Hell Weeks, but in like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I was in 3 in 1 year. They say it takes off 3 to 5 years of your life. So Hell Week is 130 hours of continuous training. You might get 2 hours of sleep. And what it does is it's designed to break a man.
So, with that being said, he has a book called Can't Hurt Me. And I was listening to that book almost 2 years ago. There's challenges that book has laid out. I took on the challenges. I did 2 of them. And in my regular fashion, I saw another shiny thing over there and I got distracted and then something happens and then I got depressed and then I just fucking fall off. And that's what happened again. So I'm putting myself back through it, listening to the book again. I don't care if the book is hot right now. I don't care what it does, if it helps the algorithm, because it won't, because the book is old now. But I'm doing it again. So, and I'm not doing these challenges until I listen to the chapter. And I'm not moving on to another chapter until I do the challenges. Oh, also, this is Colin's process. Laziest vlog in the world.
Literally grazed the actual street, and I got back on the sidewalk. And so I want to go through the challenge, and then we can talk about this challenge and kind of why you decided to challenge your readers and listeners in the book. I'll just start.
If you didn't realize, this is his book on audio. It's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, New York Times bestseller. I heard him on Joe Rogan once. He's like, I don't have any black followers. Buddy, you got some black followers. Don't fucking play yourself, buddy. I'm on it. So listen.
I'll start going through it now if you don't mind.
No, it's perfect, man. Let's do it.
Challenge number 1. My bad cards arrived early and stuck around a while, but everyone gets challenged in life at some point. What was your bad hand? What kind of bullshit did you contend with growing up? Were you beaten? Abused? Bullied? Did you ever feel insecure? Maybe your limiting factor is that you grew up so supported and comfortable, you never pushed yourself. What are the current factors limiting your growth and success? Is someone standing in your way at work or school? Are you underappreciated and overlooked for opportunities? What are the long odds you're up against right now? Are you standing in your own way? Break out your journal. If you don't have one, buy one. Or start one on your laptop, tablet, or in the Notes app on your smartphone, and write them all out in minute detail. Don't be bland with this assignment. I showed you every piece of my dirty laundry. If you are hurt or are still in harm's way, tell the story in full. Give your pain shape. Absorb its power, because you are about to flip that shit. You will use your story, this list of excuses, these very good reasons why you shouldn't amount to a damn thing, to fuel your ultimate success. Sounds fun, right? Yeah, it won't be. But don't worry about that yet. We'll get there. For now, just take inventory. Once you have your list, share it with whoever you want. For some, it may mean logging onto social media, posting a picture, and writing out a few lines about how your own past or present circumstances challenge you to the depth of your soul. If that's you, use the hashtags, #badhand, #can'thurtme. Otherwise, acknowledge and accept it privately. Whatever works for you. I know it's hard, but this act alone will begin to empower you to overcome.
So the Bad Hand Project, again, I don't know, we can just go early life. I'm just gonna make it like points. I'm not gonna go too crazy storytelling wise. But okay, I guess I was born. A year or two later, parents split up. So that put me as a statistic right there. As soon as you're growing up in a fatherless household, later on in life, learned that my father was abusive, and that yeah, wasn't the best guy when he was around. So it's probably better that he wasn't around, I guess. Yeah, probably traumatized my brothers a little bit because they were older. I was a baby. And then from there, he was never around. He only really picked me up to hang out. Most of it was just him questioning me on who my mom's dating. I would wait for hours for him to show up when he would say he was coming by. And yeah, I would wait at this window, like Crown Heights, where I'm from. There's this window. You can see Chabad Gate, and you can see everybody driving into Chabad Gate. And usually, if you're coming from elsewhere, you're going to drive into Chabad Gate to come to Crown Heights. So I'd wait at that window and just stare. And yeah, it'd usually be hours. And then he wouldn't show up. And then I'd cry. And then I'd go play with my friends. Yeah, so he wasn't around. Then I turned 8. I got assaulted by a man. He was much older than me. I was playing with my friend in the street, and we were throwing a shoe back and forth. And I hit him with the shoe, and he was very angry. He was a Russian guy, could barely speak English. And then he hit me. He punched me in the back, and he knocked me on the ground. And then he stomped on me, and then he picked me up by my neck, and then he dragged me to my house, and then he threw me on my steps. Yeah. So that. Then I was a very depressed kid even before that happened, but that added to it. My dad didn't do much. He asked where the guy lived, and the guy soon after that moved away, but I don't know what happened there. Maybe my dad fucked him up. I have no idea. But he disappeared after that. Then didn't have the best relationship with anybody because I didn't talk a lot. So that included not having the best relationship with my brothers because I guess I needed somebody older, like a father figure, to like open me up. So I got put into the Big Brother program, and I had a big brother. His name was Brian Robinson. He's a great man. He taught me a lot of great things. But then I think I can't even really remember. It's so vague. Maybe a year or so into us meeting, he ended up getting a job opportunity, and he left. He had to leave the country. So that was really, really sad. So from there, the abandonment issues. I only bring that up because then the abandonment issues started because it was like dad disappeared. Oh yeah, and after that whole thing, like around 10 years old, my dad just disappeared. He was just gone. Couldn't find him. Couldn't get his number anywhere. There's no internet back then, so he was just gone. Then I had the big brother, and then he was gone. And then by that time, I was like 11 years old. I think around the time I turned 12, I started smoking weed. And that was the worst thing I could have done because it felt so good, and it gave me an avenue to run away from my problems, which I did wholeheartedly. 2 years after that, by the time I was 14, I had a full-blown addiction to marijuana. By the time I was 15, I realized that I could get it for free if I started selling it. selling it amongst other things for quite some time. For a long time. So, yeah, those things. And then high school in general, failed grade 7, failed grade 8. My guess is they didn't want some 14, 15-year-old, 350-pound black kid in this all-white school really pissed off that he failed grade 7 and 8. So they just sent me off to high school. Couldn't do any better in school then. Year and a half into it, Mr. Nimagon told me I'd grow up to be nothing. Mr. Nimagon, I remember that guy. He told me I'd be nothing, which is like whatever. I thought the same, so it was all good. High school, group of people tried to hunt me to do probably to kill me or something. I don't know. But I didn't let that happen. I ran away promptly, just so you know. Anybody younger in that situation, run away and do the thing that I didn't do, which is call the police and tell them everything. I didn't do that. But if you're young and you're in that situation, you should do that. Don't worry about the not snitching thing. That's fucking bullshit. You go and be safe. Yeah. So there was that. High school was not good. Grade 9, failed everything, including gym. I got 1 credit in learning strategies. Grade 10, I ended up getting 2 credits. By the time I hit grade 11, I was selling weed. I was selling so much weed. So I was like, I don't need this. And like, the point of this is to learn how to make money, right? I know how to do it. So I stopped going to school. I dropped out. I got a job at a grocery store. It was the worst thing ever. I remember crying. I remember working the night shift and crying to my then girlfriend. I was like, I'm so tired and it's so hard. And can you come pick me up? It was so fucking funny. But yeah, that was a bad thing. Yeah, so I guess that's teenage years. Ended up getting cheated on twice. That rattled my sense of being a man. It made me think that I wasn't good at anything and that I couldn't satisfy anybody sexually, emotionally, or anything. So that made me very insecure. And that insecurity made me controlling because I didn't want somebody to go and cheat on me. So that was bad. Really fucked me up. All this time, my addiction's just growing and growing and growing and growing. And as the addiction grows, the business that I had to grow too. So it was getting bad. And by the time I was in my 20s, I was pretty much a career criminal. I didn't really see myself doing anything else. I didn't want to do anything else. And I didn't feel like I was smart enough to do anything else. I just didn't feel like I could ever amount to anything. So I was just going the route that I thought was the only one I had available. Went from job to job endlessly, constantly hating life. Yeah, I guess that's my bad hand, just growing up without a dad, going through a bunch of ridiculous shit because the learning curves are just so drastic when you don't have your dad around. They're fucking huge. Yeah, so that's my bad hand. And I guess in this challenge they tell you to talk about your bad hand because the pain and trauma you go through shouldn't be this faceless thing. It should be something that you can actually look at and you can actually see, and once it's there and you can see it, you can now deal with it appropriately. Yeah, so that's my pain. That's my hurt and whatnot. And there's a lot. There's more inner things. I mean, I went through a lot. The relationships were the worst thing because I was like an 8-year relationship and like a 4-year relationship, and it's 12 years of your life to be cheated on. It kind of really rattles your reality. So yeah, thank God for mushrooms. Thank God for mushrooms. Yeah, so that's my bad hand, I guess. I think things were hard. And on top of that, we were poor. Oh, I forgot. My mom stopped buying food when I was 14. I remember that. I was like 14 or 15. And I remember me and my brother being upstairs, and he was like, "Is mom going to buy food?" And I was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "She hasn't in a while." And she's not the type to explain things. So when I got so hungry because I hadn't eaten in like 3 days, that's when I learned how to rob people. That's when I was like, I'm just going to find somebody who's smaller than me, and I'm going to take anything and everything they have. And I went out that night looking for somebody up and down the streets, and I found somebody, and I was too scared to do it, so I didn't do it. But eventually I got really hungry, and I did it. Wasn't like an old lady or anything. I ended up just going to a high school. I was like, I figured things out. I was like, I can just go to a high school and take someone's weed and sell that weed, and then I can take that money and buy food. Like that's what. So if I ever robbed you, believe you me, I bought food with. So sorry. But yeah, that's my bad hand. If you have a bad hand, you should do this challenge too. You don't have to put it on the internet though. This is kind of wild, but this is how I live life, so whatever. Yeah. That's the bad hand. On to chapter 2. Thank you very much, David Goggins, for these challenges. They help more than you know. All right. Peace. Colin's process.